Nice. Okay. Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Hello. Today is Friday, February 16th for me here in New Zealand. For many of you, it will be Thursday, February 15th. This is the fortnightly ETCD triage meeting. And I am back after being away for several weeks on vacation. So it's nice to be back home. We've got a few issues to go through and PRs to go through. For anyone that's new to this session, this is just a bit of an attempt to take load off maintainers and see if we can assign out some of the issues and PRs for the ETCD project and see if we can take care and tidy up some of the PRs and issues. So let's dive in. We always start with the Kubernetes PRs and issues. We've got a PR here I wanted to raise. So we have a few PRs in the queue for SIG etcd. Two of them are actually almost identical, both in relation to bumping etcd in the Kubernetes master branch. One to 3.5.11, one to 3.5.12. They're actually both impacted by a similar issue with a test failure. Let me just find it. Here we go. Timed out waiting for trace. And given we've got 3.5.12 out now, I'm just wondering, can we suggest closing the 3.5.11 PR in favor of the 3.5.12 one? Like, they don't have to be bumped sequentially, right? We can just skip it.
Yeah, I suggest to close the second one. Do you want 1.5.11? We can close that one. Suggest for the 1.5.12. The test case failed related to the tracing, but I suggest to maybe couple the reason for the failure. One of the reason probably related to the gRPC version. The second probably possibility is related to the open telemetry version. So anyway, we need to downgrade the version to try again to narrow down the reason. This only I can suggest.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll leave a comment afterwards to do that then.
Yeah, actually, I already had comments a couple of days before, but no any action. Nobody take the action.
It's in the new one, isn't it? Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, scroll down the last comments. The last one.
Okay.
Yeah, just scroll down. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So let's try and get the other one closed. We can suggest that. So yes. All right, that would be one less PR in the queue if we get that one closed in favor of the other one, and make sure we're not, duplicating effort trying to look into the trace issue in two different places. So that would be good. The next one, we've got an issue here. Let's have a look. And I think this is actually one we can just change the SIG assignment. So we actually discussed it in a triage meeting about a month back. Someone raised an issue and a PR proposing adding compression support in Kubernetes Storage Factory without a cap, without discussing it with kind of anyone by the sound of it. And based on the discussion, I think it needs to go to SIG API machinery. They have raised a cap issue, but it's not really, there's no design yet. And I don't think it's really been discussed properly yet. So we've got this issue in our queue. I think we can just change it to SIG API machinery because the cap is assigned to SIG API machinery. Does that sound reasonable, team?
Yeah, I think we just need somebody to review the cap when it's out.
Yeah, okay. So this, and I just noticed in Chrome, I'm not signed into GitHub, which is a bit of a fail. So I just need to go over to Firefox to sort that out. So let's add the SIG API machinery label. Okay. Cool. All right. So that's going to come out of our queue now for next triage meeting, which is good. It's worth noting there is an issue for etcd to add a similar kind of feature, but it's basically backlog and it's not something that we'll be looking at until 3.6 is out. Okay, etcd. We have an old PR. It's from, I think, September last year. Yeah, September. It was really marginal. It was just kind of tweaking a couple comments. I almost wondered if it was kind of AI generated when I first looked at it, but it's basically just ever so slightly tweaking a little bit of commentary and changing a variable name. So it was pretty marginal value-wise, but I mean, it did, I guess, tidy it slightly. So it looked good from my perspective, and I think we just need to decide, are we going to accept it or are we going to reject it? Otherwise, like, it's not good just to leave it sitting there, and just let it go stale over what's been almost 6 months. So I just wanted to check. It's probably a question for Benjamin. Should we just merge it?
Yeah, I didn't. I think it's pretty simple PR. I think it's acceptable, but I didn't realize it's really old PR. Sorry, I didn't realize it's September last year.
No, that's right. This like the part of this triage meeting is we should try and just find stuff that
I think
ready.
It's really old PR. I suggest to create another PR to rebase the PR to make sure there's no any conflict.
Good point. Yeah, good point. I'll request the contributor rebase. Yeah. If they don't, we can supersede it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's merge it. Just rebase to be safe. I'll leave a comment. That's okay. Cool. Thanks, Benjamin. The next one's an issue. I was actually wanting a contributor to help out with this one, so let's have a quick look. It's an older issue that basically looks like a support issue, and I think Bogdan was involved, historically. We just need to get to the bottom of if this is expected behavior or not, and it's in relation to tokens for the what is it? Keep alive once, but also the behavior you get in relation to keep alive once. Yeah. So is there someone
we need someone to take a deeper look, take a closer look. But with one immediate comment is the simple token is not recommended for production usage. The GWT token is recommended for the production usage. These are the immediate comments. But other than that, we need to take a closer look whether this is an issue.
Yeah. So if there's someone on the call who can take have a proper read through and just perhaps update with a comment on what their thoughts are, it'd be good to just prevent this from going stale and see if we can get to a conclusion. Let me check. No, I don't see any chat. So yeah, team, the invitation is there. If you're keen to contribute, this is something we need a hand with. It'd be nice to close out this sort of older issue. And if you take a look, but you can't get to the bottom of it, you could reach out to a maintainer or just in the SIG etcd Slack channel. It'd be nice to try and close this out. Feel free to leave a comment in the issue. On to bbolt. I've got a PR there, which I think we just need to get a little bit more review on. I was going to have a read through as well. It looks like while I was away, someone implemented some benchmarking for bbolt.
Yeah.
Do I have Benjamin? You probably know a little bit more about.
The only concern there's the workflow failure. We need to make sure the workflow pass green.
I did see that, yeah. So in the checks, the new one that was added failed. I wasn't sure if that was actually
Yeah, the reason why I didn't review this PR because there's a failure.
right. Okay, and again, a bit of a fail. I haven't signed into into GitHub on the Chrome window here, but I did have a look at that failure last night. Yeah, okay. We can come back to that. I think it's close. We'll just see if we can get that failure sorted out. Website. Okay. This is a good first issue. It was assigned out to another contributor start of last month. I just wanted to follow up. Did we have that contributor on the call? We did. Are you still working on this one, Faka? If you're speaking, Faka, you're possibly on mute. I can't hear you. No, not sure. Okay, so I will follow up with a comment. But if it can be opened up, we can get a new contributor to look at it. Otherwise, it'd be good to get that good first issue tidied up. The next one is a support issue. What reads to me as a support issue. These shouldn't be opened on the website. We normally use discussions to manage support issues. So this has unfortunately just gone unnoticed since 2022, which is not a great experience for the person that raised the issue, unfortunately. So we just need to leave a comment to basically suggest the issue is closed and let the person know that if they're needing support with etcd, that they need to raise a discussion. There wasn't enough information here for it to be ever resolved as it was anyway. So they were saying, like, when they deploy etcd 355 in a 3-node cluster, what I assume was a 3-node cluster, nodes weren't starting, and they've got some log messages in there, but it's probably that we probably would have needed more information to get to the bottom of that. Is there someone on the call that can volunteer just to / close this, an org member? Otherwise, I can do it. All good. I think we should close it. But I'll do it when I'm logged into GitHub. All right. Last one. This is a duplicate. So looking at the website issues, while I was away, Nate and another contributor went through a presentation on some new tech docs assessment of the etcd website. As part of that, some new issues have been raised under this umbrella issue here. So one of those issues is to write the Linux install instructions. It's actually sort of a duplicate of this older issue. Historically, I think there was an intern that was working on these issues that Josh had raised. And we went through and set up some install instructions. Unfortunately, the Linux section is just still TBD, as is the Kubernetes section. We actually do have a second Kubernetes section that talks about using a Helm chart and suggests using Bitnami's chart. I think we should just remove this and obviously update some form of Linux instructions. So these two issues sort of conflict with each other. I think maybe we should just go with the new tech docs issue and close the old one. Does that sound reasonable, team? What do we think? Yep, Vivek, yes. Okay, cool. Executive decision made. Let's close the old one. Just so we don't have duplicates floating around. And I guess that's an invitation. If someone would like to write some basic Linux install instructions for etcd, there is a new issue. It's pretty well defined. So feel free to leave a comment in there and we are happy to assign you. The one gotcha, I think, is when you look at the Linux install options, unfortunately, like for example, the Debian package for etcd, at least when I last looked at it, it was quite out of date. So we sort of didn't want to promote those channels or promote those package manager options. I'll leave a comment in this issue just talking about that historic pain. So if we do include some package manager options here, there need to be some caveats to say like, hey, just be aware these packages are not actively maintained or they're out of date. So I don't know, it's not super easy. Yeah, if you're on Linux, maybe just try and use the brew option because you can use brew on Linux. Okay, that was everything I could quickly pull together, team, for this session, for this fortnight. Are there any other PRs or issues across Kubernetes etcd Bolt?
Actually, there was one that I wanted to talk about. I think I just filed it like a couple of days ago. It's about the pipeline kind of, it needs a little bit of fixing, I guess, because some of the jobs in 3.5 don't exactly run. I think Benjamin commented on that. These ones, like the etcd 3.5 ones, both of these, the Godoc export fails and the one above that one. So both
we
of
wanted
these
to make some additional issues out of these, didn't we? Hang on.
I mean, like most, I think, yeah, this one's kind of like pretty straightforward for the most part. So this is just adding the job back, and that will make the pipeline fail. And then we kind of know how to fix this for the most part. So I'm already working on one of these. I'll submit like a PR as soon as I get done with this, because I think the way I figured this out is because our pipelines broke too. And I was like,
Yeah.
if this passes upstream and if it fails for us, then we've got something wrong. But it seemed like, yeah, I couldn't figure out why it was breaking for us. So I just kind of went down the rabbit hole.
Okay, just a quick question for you. So if you use the Golang 1.12.7 to run the Go mod tidy command, so you will change the Go mod or Go some file. Is that true?
I actually didn't check if I ran the 21.6 and 21.7 and if it created a separate output, but I'll just try it out. And if it's making a difference, then I'll just switch to 121.6. But I didn't know if it made a difference to the Go mod like every time. And I honestly don't know how it works internally completely. So I was just taking a guess.
So there's
Yeah.
two separate issues we've got, team. One of them is in relation to basically, apparently, if you checked out 3.5 and went into tools mod and ran go mod tidy, it wasn't actually tidy. But we just need to confirm, Vivek, if you can check that it is using, they're using the exact same version that etcd is. Then if it's still not tidy, yep, we've got an issue. We need to look at it.
Yeah.
So report back there. The other one, are you working on this one as well with the basically format not being in the passes specification in the make file?
So honestly, like I didn't check out the shell check one because like it wasn't technically part of our pipeline, because if you didn't have shell check, it would just move on to the next thing. So I didn't realize this was a problem too, but I can fix this too. Like it seems like an okay fix to make pretty quickly. So I'll have this in the PR too. Like I'll create a separate PR for both of these issues because these are like kind of not the same. So I'll work on this one first because that'll get the pipeline up and running, and then I'll fix the rest of these as well.
Okay, so I'll slash assign you on this one if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll do it.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, that's.
I'm finally able to unmute. So I just wanted to add that I think one of the issues is that so we don't have a format in the GitHub workflows. So basically that's why it hasn't been catched.
Yep, that's
So
right.
I think so, and I think so. The shell check I checked, and if you don't have shell check installed locally, it skips it. So maybe
Yeah,
you didn't have it installed it, and then it just goes to the next one. So I spotted like these three issues, but the ultimate issue is that I believe we should enable a GitHub workflow that runs this path. But
correct.
if we enable it right now, then it's gonna fail. So that's what I was suggesting. Like maybe let's address these three issues, and then we enable the GitHub workflow.
Correct. I think that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah. And Ivan, thanks for adding the context on this. It kind of points pretty clearly what we need to do.
Sure.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Okay, team. We have a grand total of like 5 minutes left. Is there anything else that anyone would like to quickly raise in the last 5 minutes?
Actually, I had a question. I didn't go looking, but are these jobs enabled? All of these jobs that fail for 3.5, are these enabled on main as well, or should I just do it for main and then backport these changes to 3.5? I'm not 100% sure. I didn't even check. So
Yeah, main is absolutely running running the lint checks.
okay.
The issue is like there's just a difference between the makefile recipes. So if you look at main,
Actually, so main
makefile,
is using. Actually, main has its own workflow and uses the Go. There's a Go lint CI workflow.
Got it.
yeah, there is. So if you look at GitHub workflows, there's the static analysis one, which basically doesn't exist for 3.5. So this runs the make verify recipe. We don't actually have that recipe backported to 3.5, and we don't have the workflow either. This thing that we could do just to make it as sort of minimal as possible is backport a PR that adds format to the passes declaration, either in the workflow or in the makefile. But I almost think for 3.5, like we're going to be supporting it for a long time. It probably. It might be nice to try and backport the make verify recipe and to get that same workflow running, but it would be a little bit more work. So it's sort of we can iterate, but that's my thinking.
Got it. So, so to think about this some more clearly, is the idea to like backport, kind of like the pipeline flow that we have from main to 3.5, so that we don't have like that big a diff. I mean, there'll be some jobs like having maybe, say for example, like as you see, the Proto C versions would be different, but is the idea to actually backport most of these pipelines? Because I know there's a difference between functional tests as well. Like they don't exist in main, right? Like, but they exist in 3.5 and things like that. So maybe we can backport most of these and try to mimic what main does, and then just leave out the jobs that are not relevant.
Yep, happy with that. I mean, it is just the linting.
Okay.
On main, we have a whole bunch of the linters enabled.
I think and
Given
I think also sorry, I think also main has a little bit of different. So it has the so inside tools there is the Go lint CI definition, and I think
yes,
it's different from 3.5. I think so. I think that the easiest is just to do that make format, and maybe not backport everything. But I mean, I don't know.
yeah. So you're right. In so on main under tools, we've got a config file for Golang CI lint. It sets out what rules we'll apply when we lint. Yeah, I do just sort of come back to, well, it's release 3.5 is going to be a supported release for a while. does kind of make sense to me to try and clean up some of this stuff. But I guess that file doesn't even exist on release 3.5. Have a look. Yeah, no. So I mean, that'd be another thing to add to the backport PR. So yeah, on 3.5, the fastest thing to do would probably be to look at the make file, look at the workflows, add the static analysis one, or just look at the tests one and look at the passes. So this uses the template. Where is it? And do we define passes here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is passes for build. We could just add format here, or we look at like test unit. Probably it's test unit might be better. And we just add it to that. So when you look at the make file and look at test unit, you could just add format in here. Either one of those would be a very fast way to get some linting started on release 3.5. But I do just, like, coming back to it, I do think we should be trying to align release 3.5 to main in terms of what our linting rules are, what the recipe name is that is used to trigger linting, so that we have this consistency. Because otherwise, like, you might get really used to running make verify in main. You go check out release 3.5 and just the recipe doesn't even exist. So
Got it. I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to get to the shortest solution first, and then maybe like
Yep.
if we want to like do a little bit of rearcing about how we want to run these jobs, then maybe we can go about it in the longer term.
Yep. Sounds good. I mean, this issue is in relation to where is it? Let's go back. The other one. Yeah, in relation to format not passing. So let's get that sorted first. We can iterate
Okay.
on some of the wider backports. Okay, thanks team. We are exactly on time at past. Next week we have a regular etcd community meeting with an open agenda, and you can add anything you want to the Google Doc. You will have access to that Google Doc as long as you have subscribed to the etcd dev mailing list. So I'll hope to see you in a week's time. Have a wonderful weekend, team. We'll see you later.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks, likewise.